We all saw Mew drop the sign and watched the river carry it downstream. And the river was wide there. The sign should have traveled downriver toward the chapel, correct? It should have hit the wall on the far side of the chapel and stopped there. But that's not where we found it. We found it near the mansion, nestled in some rocks.
The signboard should have been near the chapel, but we found it on the other side.
Hold up. Didn't you stay on the chapel side? She probably grabbed the signboard from the chapel wall to cross the river. Then left it on the boulders near the mansion so she could get back.
Why would she leave the signboard where it could get swept away and leave her stranded?
Also, this has nothing to do with walking through the wall, right? We're getting off topic. We're so close to the truth. We just have to connect the how and what. All the mysterious things that happened have to connect with each other somehow.
Connect how?
A wall only objects can pass through. Sounds that shouldn't be heard. A signboard going against the river current. How are they all connected?
I don't know, but Shuichi should know, right?
What?
We would be in a lot of trouble if you didn't. The only one who can solve this mystery and save us all is you.
So, how are they connected? Do you know, Shuichi?
Well, what we know so far is that the unnatural way the sign was carried is possibly related to the wall. This is it! It might have to do with a wall that only objects can pass through. The sign should have stopped at the wall on the other side of the chapel. But if that wall happened to be the one that Mew set to allow objects through...
I see. It's a wall only non-humans can pass through. That means the signboard can pass through the wall, right?
Even if it could pass through the chapel wall, how did it end up by the mansion?
The only way it could do that is if the wall was a warp zone. But it's not, right?
Leave it to me, Shuichi. I, your partner, will give you hints in times of trouble. This is the virtual world. We should throw away all of our common sense, okay?
Huh? The hell does that even mean?
That's it! What if both ends of the river were connected?
Huh? Both ends of river connected?
Exactly. To put it another way, the river isn't cut off at the wall near the chapel. It's all part of one big loop. The upstream part of the river is connected to it.
What? What are you talking about? Both ends of the river can't...
Again, throw out all common sense from your head. We're talking about the virtual world.
Then what about the wall? There was only one wall that could be passed through.
Right. Even if the river's connected and it goes through the chapel wall, It wouldn't have been able to go through the mansion wall, too.
I got it. I knew why Mew only set up one wall.
What are you talking about now?
That's it! The walls by the chapel and the mansion aren't separate. They're the same wall.
The same wall?
It's not just the river. The walls themselves are connected. Don't think of it as two separate walls, but a single wall parallel to the y-axis. That single wall divides the entire virtual world. The idea is, you pass through the wall by the chapel and come out by the mansion.
Everything is starting to connect. See, didn't I tell you? Everything is connected.
Damn it, Kokichi! Just tell us!
It's okay. More importantly, this is the final stretch! If both the river and wall are connected, then you can find the secret. Shuichi, you already know the secret behind the virtual world, right?
Yes, that's it. The virtual world is a loop. Loop?
Just like in old games, right? Like, for example, when a character goes off the left side of the screen and reappears on the right.
Yes, exactly. The edges of the virtual world are linked together in a continuous loop.
The virtual world loops?
What in the world?
If that's true, it would explain the way the signboard was swept away. It vanished into the wall downstream of the river, came out of that same wall upstream, and floated with the current until it got caught on the rocks.
What was the world like before Mew added the wall?
Actually, there wasn't a wall on the y-axis at all, and the x-axis was set to loop.
Are you serious? Even if it is a computer program, isn't that too crazy?
A looping world. That's more extraordinary than even magic.
But at least it's not a boring answer. It also explains all the things that happen.
Huh? It doesn't explain everything, does it? Because we still don't know why we heard that one sound or Kibo's voice.
Yeah, sound doesn't go past the map loading point.
Actually, if we know that the world is a loop, we can explain that as well.
Huh? Really?
Yes, but first we need to be clear where the loop starts.
Where the loop starts. Doesn't it loop at the walls next to the mansion and chapel?
Not necessarily. If we heard a noise at the chapel from inside the mansion, then the loop... There! The map loading point was where the virtual world looped. We thought the loading point was in the middle of the map. But the loading point was actually at the edges.
So the wall Mew created wasn't at the edges of the world, but rather... her wall was at the center of the world.
I see. So the mansion and chapel were near each other, with a wall between them. And any sounds emitted near the chapel would also reach the mansion. The wall only allows non-humans to pass through, so sound should be able to pass through easily.
That's right! That's how the virtual world works!
Impressive, Shuichi! For you to get this far! Yes! Yes! You are useful indeed!
For you to get this far, what are you, some villain pulling the strings?
Nope. Mew pulled the strings here, not me. Remember? Mew also set this trap. It all began when Mew showed us the map. Because of the map, we mistakenly thought the loading point was at the center, which in turn made the mansion and chapel seem farther away from each other.
But the structure of the world wasn't actually like that. There was a wall along the y-axis, and the x-axis came around in a loop.
By putting that wall in the center of that world, she cut off the loop.
So ever since Mew showed us that map, we were caught in her trap. But we solved this mystery thanks to Shuichi. All hail our savior!
Yeah, if Shuichi wasn't here, then we never would have solved this mystery. That's right. Good work, Shuichi.
Thanks, Shuichi. You saved us.
You're welcome.
Just because we found out the virtual world's secret doesn't mean we can take it easy yet. Actually, this culprit hunt just got to the exciting part. Even if we know all the tricks, it's pretty meaningless if we don't find the culprit. That's how a class trial works, after all!
Kichi talking like Monokuma again.
No matter what you say, I'm not gonna believe your lies. I'm gonna believe in everyone. That's how I'm gonna reach the truth.
I can't wait to see what happens next!
another thing.
Yeah?
Yeah!
Really?
My head! Bonatara! Pull yourself together! I feel like I'm forgetting someone important to me, but I just can't. My head! My head hurts so much, I just can't remember.
Have
you forgotten? Maybe that's for the best. From this point forward, let's start a new life for ourselves.
On the threshold of an
After
amazing
all,
adventure, Showtime.
our baby is excited to meet his daddy, you know?
Daddy? Wait, what? I'm gonna be a father?
What a colossal death flag. I'll be surprised if he doesn't die after that.
More importantly, let's continue the conversation where we left off.
We understand Mew plotted the murder, but we need to find out who killed her.
And in order to figure that out, we need to understand Mew's actions. So let's discuss her murder scheme step by step.
I know that's important, but hearing you lead the conversation really pisses me off.
Let's see. Mew manipulated the virtual world to use it as part of her murder plan.
Don't just ignore me and start anyway.
If she had succeeded, she would have gone past the wall between the chapel and mansion. And then wham! Murdered me on the roof with the hammer.
She would make the murder seem like it happened in the real world, and then pin it on Kaito.
As for Mew's alibi in the real world, she could say she was locked into the virtual world. And in the virtual world, she could say she was near the chapel the entire time.
She'd make an excuse about how she couldn't reach the mansion because of the fallen bridge. She dropped the bridge on purpose so she could separate the chapel from the mansion. Then secretly passed through the wall she installed and took advantage of the loop. After, she headed to where we were supposed to meet up, the mansion's rooftop. Oh yeah, Kaito was probably logged out around that time too.
That's when I saw Mew.
Problem is, because of her murder plans, we don't even know where she was killed.
She was killed on the roof, right? Kokichi told us the roof door was locked and that he couldn't get through.
Maybe that when culprit killed her.
That's probably what happened. The culprit killed her on the locked roof.
Did the culprit lock the door to the roof?
Perhaps. I don't think Mew did it. If Mew did lock it, she would have done it when she called Kokichi to the roof. Even if someone came up, I don't believe she would change the target of her plan. She knew that Kokichi would come up later. Locking the door would be suspicious.
Well, it's possible she didn't even think that far ahead. She was smart, but she was also really, really dumb.
No say such mean things! Killing game bad, not Mew. Mew not bad person. Grown to think we could have been friends, if things different.
That might have been difficult, even without this killing game.
That wouldn't happen.
Nuh-uh. No way, Jose.
Huh? Anyway, let's continue the discussion. If Mew was killed on the roof of the mansion, the culprit must have moved Mew's avatar to the chapel after killing her, right?
So the next thing we should talk about is how they moved her avatar.
Now we know the mansion and chapel were actually next to each other. But the problem is the wall between them.
Only Mew was able to go through that wall. The culprit wouldn't have been able to.
Then you're saying the culprit sent Mew's avatar through that wall?
Yeah, that's the only way, right?
But how did the culprit send Mew's avatar through the wall? I mean, it's not like they could have thrown her.
Don't not throw her!
We know. You couldn't because the avatar's physical strength was equalized.
Physical strength equalized? That problem. Gonta no can protect everyone if that happens.
Please, keep up with us. We're already in the second half of the class trial.
How did they send Mew's avatar to the other side of the wall? Maybe that thing has something to do with it. You know, the loud sound you heard? Because of that sound, you guys went to the side of the chapel. Right, Keyboy? That's when you found the dead Mew there, right? If so, then I think that sound and her avatar being by the chapel are related.
That's it! I think the sound came from Mew's avatar hitting the chapel wall.